Players are getting screwed by the mega servers, people are really upset, and it all starts with the land down under, okay? The same people that drive on the left lane and like they live backwards, you know, those people from Australia, they are really upset of what happened, and I do not blame them. Let's take a look at the news. The servers already merged. However, they have not decided yet what they are gonna do to Australian people. As you guys know, people in Oceania, that's the Australian continent, there is more than Australia on it. You got New Zealand, you got like Tasmania, and I don't know, those islands. Well, they are all Oceania, right? So those people work on the same framework as NA. That's how, if you are playing PvP in North America, you're gonna see Australian people all the time. We got a joke with Gian when we play with them that like they say something like, "Oh, can I get a buff?" And we go like, "Hey man, not cool. We're not gonna take no leap from an Australian," because it says AU on the name, and we think it's hilarious. We're really mean. But basically, they are in the same account as the North American account. So it was assumed that they were gonna get their own mega server. If we take a look at the original post here, so here's where the problem comes in, right? Like you can see these two comments here are pretty much nailing the whole thing. One of the guys is saying, "I would like to be on a populated server, but I don't want to play on 200 ping." Oh, little do you know, I play on 200 ping this whole time. But if you're in Australia and you want to go to Crusader Strike, for example, which is one of the options that they are getting, you gotta play on 200 ping. You cannot play in Australia, right? So that's a big problem for them, and they are really upset, and I totally understand why people are upset at that. It kinda sucks. I mean, gee, I would never know what it's like to play on 200 ping from Latin America to North America. I would never know the pain, of course. But that's the number one thing, and PvPers in particular are really mad. Then you can see right here, people are asking for an alternative solution. Like, can we choose? Can we choose between Australian mega server or American mega server? Will you give us the choice? And basically this is the reply that they gave us. And my dog is Malding outside again. God damn it. Australia gets wrecked yet again. That's kind of the consistent problem in WoW, right? Australia always gets shafted no matter what they do. It's really sad. Like Blizzard really hates Australian people. I don't know what the freaking ostriches did to them that they are so upset. This is sadly one of the options that is not possible. We know you have the technology. Yes, we do. We do have the technology, they are saying. It is utilizing modern World of Warcraft sharding infrastructure. Unfortunately, a lot of changes would be made to support vanilla-like gameplay with classic World of Warcraft's launch when they changed a lot of functionality to recreate realm-based ecosystems. So let me translate what this means, okay? Because I don't think that's quite like explaining it. Why is classic WoW so laggy, and why do we have shards? While, for example, a private server in Russia with like $300 a month can run 10,000 people on the same layer, no lag, no problem, nothing. The reason for that is that Blizzard is using the same servers as in retail. And the thing about retail servers is that retail was designed, the servers for retail WoW were designed for a different game. They use something that is called virtual servers. I am not the guy to talk about virtual servers. I don't know exactly what it is. But basically, they have like separate hardware that works in parallel with each other. And it is optimized to work with thousands and thousands of tiny instances, right? Because what do you do in retail WoW? You are in a raid, you are in a dungeon, you're in a battleground. You're never in the world almost. So it makes sense for them to optimize it in a way that a lot of tiny instances of a little bit of people, but a lot of them, that's the way they optimize it. That's not the same as the server blade architecture that we had in Vanilla WoW, right? In Vanilla WoW, we had like a server for the server, and everybody was playing on the same hardware. The way this retail technology works is that you get transported from one tiny server to another tiny server to another tiny server, and so on and so forth. That's the way it works. And what people were proposing is that, can you just get sharded into Australia and then sharded into America and sharded into Australia? And the reason they are telling you that they cannot do it, I kind of agree, is that's a pain in the butt. Because every time you get layered, every time you go inside a dungeon, every time whatever happens, your Australian server has to talk to the American server, which is 200 ping. It's gonna take a while. What if one server is offline and the other server isn't, because servers go offline? It creates a bunch of logistical challenges, and I completely understand why Blizzard doesn't want to do that. It just makes sense. they are offering you a couple options. This is not the options that they are offering you right now. This is what they are proposing, and they want to hear people's opinion on it. And I bet you they are going to hear people's opinion on it. Oh god, they are going to hear it. So they are offering people to go to wild growth. That's number one. So they are offering people to go to PvE. So they are still going to play in America, basically. They are still going to have to face 200 ping, but they are going to have the option to not go to the mega server. Number two is to convert Shadow Strike, which is the Australian server, into a PvE realm, and they are going to open transfers to Shadow Strike. So the way it works is that essentially what they are proposing is, what if you get an Australian mega server for the Australian people and Americans get their own mega server? The reason that they are concerned about this is there going to be enough people to sustain 2 servers in Australia? Like, Australia is much tinier as a server than America. So is 2 servers in Australia gonna feel like a mega server? Especially if you give people the choice, right? Especially, and this is the main problem, because I heard people tell them, give everybody all the options. If you give everybody all the options, the Australian mega server will die. That's the trade-off. Because even if only half the players go to America, they are missing half the players, and Australia is already a smaller region. So they are still gonna get screwed in the bot, basically. No matter what they do, they are gonna get screwed. So they can't give you both the options. For all the people that were saying that, I know it feels like emotionally what they should do, it doesn't really work. And that's what they are proposing here. Offer to both America and US. People can choose to stay or go. This option almost certainly will kill the Australian realms. I agree, it will. And it splits the already small player base, and you will be forced to move if you want to play with anyone. Out of all the options, we are leaning towards option 1 for now, which is making 2 Australian servers, basically. Shadow Strike is still a significantly healthier realm than Penance, but it is still less than 10% of the Crusader Strike. So that's the American server. That's why we want to merge with America, so that's what they're saying. Overall, please understand that we appreciate that this isn't a great place to be in. It is for a similar reason with our seasonal realms, that we do not do the usual suite of language specific realms in Europe, because like back in retail, you got like a Spanish server, you got the German server, you got the Italian server. I don't know how many servers they got, but in Europe you got like several languages. If I recall correctly, all the Spanish people were in Doom Mother, wasn't it? That's what I remember. But yeah, they don't want to split the population, that's what they are saying. Now, this is one of the few times that I have great sympathy for the people working at Blizzard. For real. Dead honest. There is nothing they can do that won't get everybody mad. Yeah, rare sympathy moment, indeed. And of course I feel really bad for the Australian players too. I mean, the ones that care about ping. If I were them, I would go for the American option. I would play with 200 ping. That's the only life I know anyway, right? But think about it. The sharding in between Australia and America thing and merging the servers and making both servers work at the same time, it will not work. What it would take is for them to make new servers in the old school. They will have to develop the technology for it, because they do not have the technology for it. That's also a lie. They do not have the technology to handle this. They will have to change the architecture of the servers for that to work. It's not gonna work. Like, they are not gonna build new servers for vanilla. I wish they were. I wish they did. They won't. They definitely won't. There is no way that they are going to make 2 different types of servers, one for retail and one for vanilla, so it won't work. Oh no, of course, Crowdmaster, they definitely have the money to make it, but they are not going to make it. And honestly, that might give you some profitability concerns, because Classic makes a lot of money, but it doesn't make all the money at the same time. How long would it take you to make the money back from building every single server they have from scratch? That's not free. Servers cost a lot of money, okay? I don't think you quite dimension how much money it costs them. Maybe a cooler company would do that. I think, for example, SBI, Albion Online, they would do that. These guys won't. And the people that decide these things are not the guys that decide the server technology. I assure you, these people hate the people higher up as much as we do, because they make their job a lot harder, right? Like, Agren has to go out there and work with terrible servers because that's a higher up decision, that they don't want to spend money on 2 types of servers. Do you think Agren is happy that he has to work with terrible, crappy servers all the time? Of course he's not happy, right? Like, that's not their fault. That's not the Classic team's fault. So essentially, the options that they are giving you are the options that realistically can happen. And my heart also tells me maybe we should give people both the options. It doesn't work. They are all gonna go to NA anyway. So do you really have a choice between going to a dead Australian server or going to NA? Is that a choice? That's the illusion of choice at that point, isn't it? So I feel for both of them. I feel for Blizzard and I feel for the Australian players. Let me tell you that if you raid, 200 ping is not that bad. You can do it. Unless you're a feral druid. If you're a feral druid, you're gonna have to re-roll. I think we're gonna lose all the feral druids on Australia tomorrow. That's not gonna be a thing anymore. That sucks. But yeah, I think that's pretty much my take on it. There is no good option here. Every option is a lose-lose situation. And I hope they do a poll. Honestly, I think the way they should fix this one, because this is such a pollable one, okay? Just send an email to every Australian player in Classic and do you want option 1, option 2, or option 3? That's it. That's the way I would handle it if I were Blizzard. Anyway, what are your guys' thoughts? I gotta tell you that my number one thought right now is to subscribe, join the Discord, and thank you for watching.